Hi, this is a Photoshop tutorial and we're going to talk about how to place text behind an object in a photo. So I've seen some other tutorials that people have posted, but it's not as complicated as having to make a detailed selection. So if we take a look at this image, I'm going to pull my layers over here so you can see my layers. I have a photo that's open right now, and all I need is that one photo. I don't need to make a duplicate of this, but I do need the text in here. So I'm going to create some text that we're going to mask out. So I'm going to pull this over to the side temporarily so you can see what I'm doing. And I have the type size pretty big, so I'm going to reduce this down to about 200. I think that's about right. So, and then I'm going to use the words that the other person used, nervous, and that looks pretty good. I think I want to make it a little bit bigger, so I'll make it about 250 points, and that looks good. And you don't necessarily have to use the selection tool to do that. You can, or the text tool to do that. You can actually just select the layer that you've created, which is right here. You can select the layer, and then you can go to the, just hit your T character on the keyboard, and you can go to here, and then you can go through the different styles if you want to and all that, and you can change the size this way. Okay, so we have nervous here, and I'm going to center this a little bit better. Okay, and then the only thing we need to do, I'll show you, it's really pretty quick, and it goes pretty quick, pretty easy. So if you hold the command key down and move your cursor over the actual T in the layer for the type, and hold the command key down, you'll see this little box that shows up next to your hand on here, and that means that it's going to go back to that selection. So it's going to select whatever's in that layer. So the only thing in that layer is the type, so it selects it just like that. So and then what we can do is we can go ahead. So if I move my layers palette up, you can see a little bit better, or I make this a little smaller. So we have limited space on here. If you just go down to the very bottom, now that we have the marching ants on here that shows that's a selection, we just want to go to add layer mask, and it's going to add a layer mask on here. So right now it's not masking anything except for the black area. The white area is showing through, the black area is being hidden. So all we need to do, I'm going to move this out of the way, just get it out of the way from you, from us, and you can see what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go to the paint tool, and since the paint tool, when you use this on a mask, you have to make sure that you have actually selected the mask. So this is the actual type, this is the mask. So you go to your paintbrush, excuse me, not paint tool, but paintbrush, and make sure the black is forward. So when you're in this, the mask itself, you can only paint with black or white. So what happens is black hides, white shows. So if I zoom in here a little bit closer, you can see, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use this paintbrush. I'm going to make sure the paintbrush size is pretty big, and actually not that big, but I want it pretty big. I also want a hard edge, I don't want a soft edge, so I'm just going to use a hard edge. And you can see in here as I paint with this, make sure that you have your setting for opacity at 100% before you do this. And I'm not going to be perfect on here, but you can see if I make a little mistake, you can see I'm just painting over that. It's a lot easier than making those selections like someone else is suggesting. But if you get in really close, you can see that I kind of missed a little bit. So I'm going to make my brush a little smaller, and then I'm going to hit the X key. Now when I hit the X key, it's just going to flip the colors here from the black as a foreground to white foreground. When I have the white forward, what it's going to do, it's going to bring back that edge. So if I get it off a little bit, I can just hit the X key and do that, and then zoom up here, and you can see I get this pretty close, and that's pretty good. So that gives you the idea or the concept, and you can see where I masked it out, the black area. That gives you that concept of having the type going behind it. Now see, I didn't see the U. Now you can leave that forward, or you can correct, and then also here where I have the O didn't get it cleaned up very well, so I want to mask that off a little bit better. And if I go too far, which I just did, you can go back and clean that up very easily by just hitting the X key and then painting that back in. And it'll only paint in the area of what's on that actual layer itself, nothing else, so you don't have to worry about anything else showing up. So now when you look at it, you'll see it looks great. So that's pretty simple and easy. I just wanted to show you that, since I'd seen another tutorial and it wasn't really it wasn't as nice as this. It was a lot faster, and was showing where you had to make a selection around the hand and everything, and then create a mask with it. But it goes faster this way if you use the type as the mask itself, and then for the selection, and then creating the mask based on that, and just painting out the areas that you don't want to show up. So just hiding the areas that are black. And so that's the end of my tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will post more. Thank you.